Okay, it says we're live.
It says we're live.
I'm going to assume it's not full of shit and that we are actually live on the internet.
Is this happening? Are we doing this? Is happening right now.
It may be happening. People are saying hello, so I'm guessing that's a good sign. Hi, everybody. It'd be really weird if they just all of a sudden at the same time started to say hello.
That would be very
even
strange.
Though it wasn't live. That would be very confusing.
That I don't think people understand. Like we're talking, and then we all right, cool. Let's start the show. Brad puts the titles on, and then there's this period. There's this waiting period where I'm like, all right, well, do I drink? Do I not drink? Do I wait? What am I doing?
Right.
There was a bit of a.
It's weird, and StreamYard doesn't help because there's a little bit of a delay from like when it goes live to when StreamYard says it's live. I'm sure. So.
Yeah.
Whatever. Professionalism. Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Kellen, it's been
Brad,
a week.
Oh my gosh.
How you doing?
Brad, I'm doing well. Here in America, we're doing what we do really, really well, which is allow the police to kill innocent people, and then people ride on the street. Tomorrow here in Chicago, a 13-year-old boy was shot by the police, and tomorrow the mayor watched the body cam video. We're going to start on a really good note, by the way, people. Excuse me.
Really cheery
note. This is what I'm in for tomorrow. The mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, who is a really terrible leader and bad person in general, she saw the body cam footage, made no comment about the police, but Chicago is divided by a large river, the Chicago River, and she's put all the bridges up tomorrow, and there's going to be a curfew in charge tomorrow. So that really makes us feel like the video is going to be good, and people are going to be very happy tomorrow here in town.
All right. And when did they announce the RoboCop project? Is that soon?
It's hopefully soon. hopefully soon.
Sure.
Yeah, man, that's Chicago for you. That's Chicago. So that's what we're doing here in America, Brad. How about you? You, Brad, have had an interesting week. You told me at the beginning of the week that your wife has come over here to America, right?
She bailed on me.
She bailed. She said, "Arrivederci, I'm going home to the land of freedom." Exactly. All the good stuff here. And you've been solo with your son. How's that been?
It's been pretty good. He's off school this week because they backed up March break so far that it is in April apparently.
Well, there you go.
Because of all the lockdown things, and school has been in and out, for the past year and change. So it's been weird. But yeah, he's been off this week, so it's just a lot of video games and watching stuff. A lot of Minecraft.
A lot of Minecraft.
It could be easier, but it could be a lot worse too. So that's fine. I don't mind him playing a lot of Minecraft. He could be doing a lot worse things.
He could be. He could be doing a lot worse things. That's the best thing about Minecraft. You can at least say, well, could be worse.
It's digital Lego, basically, with extra steps. But
exactly. Yeah.
But it's good.
Well, thank you for everyone for joining us here this evening. We're always very happy.
There is that.
There is that. Yes.
That actually, coincidentally, if you don't mind, I have a question for you from the audience.
Oh yeah, if we already have a question from the audience.
Aerith Girl is here.
I'm very excited.
Earlier today, she asked me basically to talk about or to ask you what the hell is going on with your TikTok content lately.
What are you talking about? My TikTok content has always been this way. It's always been I'm a man. And I make videos. That's what it's always been.
I mean,
right?
That is an accurate description of your activities on TikTok. Although I would say, when I started following you on TikTok, you were doing things like watering pants outside.
I was watering pants, right?
And
things like that. now I'm making equally thirsty content, Brad.
Sure.
This is how we connect the dots, Brad, I'm a magician. I'm never going to reveal why I'm doing the trick.
Is it the OnlyFans money? Is that what it is?
The OnlyFans money is good. The OnlyFans money is really, really good. It's really, really good. Sure. I will say though, I think
it's a transfer. It was pants. And now it's panties.
There are plenty of men who are quite excited, and they may be wearing panties as well. So
whatever. No judgments.
No judgment. So, Brad, why am I doing it this way? There's a lot of different reasons. I think if anything, and I'll try not to sound too pretentious when I say this.
Do it. Go all the way pretentious.
Go all the way pretentious.
Fine. If you're gonna do something, do it.
Do it pretentious.
Yeah.
I remember before I started doing this stuff, I was really bored on TikTok after my account got shut down. And again, that was the funny thing, is like my account was starting to go towards that, to be like, hey, let's just see what we can get away with on the app. And I got shut down. And that was fine. Came back, was doing very safe content. A lot of videos where I was playing me and my son, and it was fine. But at a certain point, I just got a little bored. And then I just, people that we both know kept saying, hey, you should do more stuff in the overalls, right? They were like, you look good in the overalls, do stuff in the overalls. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I started watching more thirsty, sexy content, and I was like, oh, this is it's a form. You just kind of copy and paste the sort of form this way. And that's the cool thing about TikTok. You just say, great, I'm going to do this way. And yeah, it kind of, it clicked, and it also made me feel very good, made me feel very, very sexy, felt very nice.
That's the important part. In my opinion, that like if you're having fun with it, or if it's giving you some kind of enjoyment,
Brad,
that's the point.
It makes me feel
the actual content, or like what
good.
Other people think about it, like I could take or leave attention, like whatever. But if you're having fun with it, great.
I have a great time in it. And that's the thing, is like when I'm making it, I have to imagine that I'm talking to someone. I have to imagine that there's someone I'm talking to, right? And that's, you can see it in the eyes, you can feel it.
There's no fun if you can't actually imagine the wet panties.
I can imagine it. I can imagine all of it. And it's very, very nice. But what I imagine in my mind, yes,
you're going to get a lot more of that.
I'm going to get a lot more of that. Yes. But what I think is really funny is the comments. The comments are where I get the most pleasure from. The video is great, but being able to go into the comments and continue to play the character, the game, with the people in the comments, and like all the dudes, every single guy that comments on the videos in the beginning, they'd be like, oh gosh, man, what are you doing? I love going after the men and being like, come on, daddy, tell me what I need to do. What do I need to do, daddy? It's so fucking enjoyable to see straight men get uncomfortable with male sexual attention. Very enjoyable. And then to see the ladies be like, ooh la la, and I equally try and reel them in. Enjoyable that way. I've met a lot of other content creators who do thirsty stuff, who really like what I do, and I've started to talk with them about building out more content and learning how to do things and learning from them and meeting other men and meeting other women. And I feel like in the last like 2 to 3 weeks, it all started clicking and being like, okay, cool. Now I think I understand this even more. And it's just very, very fun. And it also helps that I am very, very lucky. And to anybody who's here in the chat, who is gone on my Amazon wish list and sent me something, when people send me things, it makes me say, I'm doing something right.
Sure.
Yes. Hate mail makes me feel like I'm doing something right.
I mean, yeah, why not? It's like a classic video game thing, right? If you're not seeing enemies along the way, you're going the wrong way.
Exactly. You gotta go right towards where the Goombas are. So thank you, Eric, for asking that question, and thank you, Brad, for bringing it up and for allowing me this platform to talk about it.
It was very funny. I had a very short exchange with her earlier where she definitely thought that I had been joking in my previous mentions of your OnlyFans account.
Yeah, the OnlyFans stuff is still sort of tricky, right? Because there's definitely some stuff that I'm trying to kind of work out, because it's like, okay, here's the reality, Brad. I don't have the parts that ladies have, right? Ladies have a lot more parts, and men have the male view. They have better parts. I don't have jiggly parts. I don't have other parts that we do that.
You've got some jiggly parts, I bet. I mean, I haven't had personal experience. I'm gonna go ahead and assume you've got some jiggly parts.
I do, but not in the same way, Brad. Not in the same way. So that the tricky thing for me is all right. So how much do I reveal? What sort of the stuff do I want to do? How do I make it classy? How do I make it something that I enjoy? And then how do I balance? And this is where it gets tricky, Brad. This is where I got to talk to you about this. Talk to my business manager. At a certain point when the money gets involved, how do I make sure that doesn't take away from the fun? So got to figure that out.
It is tricky. That is one thing I have not necessarily been great at in the past, is connecting making money with fun.
Yeah. And if that's
I've sort of min-maxed that situation quite a bit.
Yeah.
To give myself more fun now and a lot less for the last few years.
Yeah. And I would much rather continue having fun and like kind of make like a couple bucks on the side than be like, all right, cool, I'm going to make some big money. Because when you hear about OnlyFans, you hear people saying like, oh, they're making $30,000 a month. You're like, good Lord.
It can be, yeah.
It can be.
I'm sure the average is quite a bit lower than that. Sort of like the creator fund on TikTok. Like, yes, there's some people making a lot of money, but most people aren't.
And most of those people are also 21 and women, right?
But at the same time, like basically no overhead, right? It's almost 100% profit.
It's all profit. It's all profit.
Especially if you've got people sending you things.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm having fun. And that's the reality for me. As I said, all right, cool. I'm going to do this until I'm not having fun. And then when I'm not having fun, I'll find something else to do. And it'll be weird. It'll be great. It's all performance art. That's really all it is. Just performance art.
Sure.
Great question.
Overall talk?
Overall talk. We're getting into it.
It has. Your content has definitely made other overall related things show up in my For You page on TikTok a lot more recently.
Well,
which I'm not necessarily mad about, but some of it is very strange.
Brad, you're absolutely right. And the thing is, for me, is I'm a Carhartt man. I enjoy these Carhartt overalls. They feel very, very nice. If you were to stand in front of me and pull on these, if you were to pull on them, it would feel it feels really good. It feels good in the hands. Summer's coming, so I got to figure out something else because the summer's going to get hot here. And I got to figure out some things, get some summer overalls. Again, I've also got the rompers, and that's the reality is
the summer is going to be romper season.
Romper season, exactly. Yeah. So, How about can I ask you a question, Brad?
Sure. I suppose. I mean, that is kind of part of
our thing that we do. Kind of our thing. Brad, I have been thinking about starting a cult.
Sure.
And I thought maybe you and maybe we could go into business together, starting a cult, right? It's just the two of us. We start figuring some things out. And I was kind of figuring out what kind of cult could we start together?
What kind of cult?
What kind of cult would you and I start
together? That's tricky,
right, Brad?
I mean, the jaded part of me thinks that we could probably together, with our past history, both being recovering Catholics.
Oh yes,
we could probably work out an interesting offshoot using a lot of pre-existing notions and ideas.
Oh yes, Brad, I like this idea. So we are maybe even targeting former Catholics, or are we simply taking some of the
Catholicism? These days it's not like it used to be.
Right.
So they're all modernizing it. They're not following the real teaching.
Oh, so you want to go? I was going the opposite. I was like, let's get the fun stuff out of Catholicism. Let's get the dogma out. And you're like, no. Let's get the fun out. Let's go back. Let's go Calvinism.
What part of cults are fun, Kellen?
I mean, the
if it's not psychological warfare, it's not really a cult.
I think it has to start fun, Brad. That's the thing about it. Jamestown, you don't start with Jamestown, right? You got to start with some other stuff, right? You don't. Koresh has a lot of fun. The shit that happened in my backyard in Oregon, all the polyamory stuff that happens with the Mormons. It's got to start with some fun first, a little wet and wild before we get there, right?
Sure. I mean, there's so many options.
There are a lot
these days. I mean, you start a collection of OnlyFans accounts that are an ARG for a sex cult.
Oh, Jesus Christ! What a good idea!
And you gamify the entry to the sex cult via OnlyFans. So people are paying you to play this game that leads them into a sex cult.
Brad, that is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant because I mean, people freak out about ARGs and being like, well, the content's behind these paywalls, right? And you almost here's how we do it. We almost think about it like sort of Bitcoin, where like the ARG, the elements are constantly shifting in within the OnlyFans community. So there's no way to know where it's going to be. So you have to almost be like constantly following it and being like, all right, well, I got to subscribe to all these people in case an ARG shows up. Oh, Brad.
The wider you go, the more money you're making to fund the entry and creation of this cult.
Yes. I like this. And that's how you get people in. And then, Brad, because again, we're talking about multi-levels. For those people who are getting in, you say, great, you can totally get in on this. It's an easy, it's $5,000 entry. And then we give you this. And again, people are going to constantly be coming in, but it's $5,000 to get in, right? That's the easy, like, I understand that's a lot of money up front. We obviously can't guarantee that you're going to continue. You're going to make that money back and probably even more.
Sure.
Yeah, this is where it's bad, Brad. This is where it gets dangerous.
I don't even know if you have to go that direct. You just have the ARG lead to a different OnlyFans account that only has one post. That's a paid post for $5,000. That explains the next level.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So again, we're going up. Okay, so we got a little bit. Okay, we're unlocking levels. Okay, I like this. All right. Well, maybe we'll come back to this as we're building this cult out. We can't do it in one night.
It's definitely leading in that direction.
And also, it's a perfect segue into R.I.P. Bernie Madoff. Papa Pyramid Scheme passed away in federal prison.
Sure.
Yeah, fun stuff.
We could make that work. I think.
We can make it work. That
seems like something we should probably deny planning on a public broadcast.
Well, Brad, everyone who's here is going to be involved. That's the thing.
It's true. This is the top level. This is actually getting deleted when we're done recording this week for the first time.
And everybody who's here, this is the inner circle. Oh no, and then Aerith is going to take off and she's going to start it up right now. That's the thing. It's already gone. It's already moving. She's already on it.
Perfect. By the time this stream is over, the first post will be live. Just go find it, and you'll have to figure out the rest.
Damn it, Brad. We give away this content for free.
Right. Again, that's what OnlyFans should be for. We're wasting perfectly good
content. Perfectly good content. Oh, good, Brad. Oh, good.
That'll be fun.
That will be fun when that happens. And then, Brad, I guess here's the question: how does this cult end? Brad, is this a doomsday cult at the end? At what point do we switch over and we say, actually, the reason we've been doing all of this is because the world is going to end? Like, at what point do we introduce, like, when we're about to lose power, when people are about to catch on, are we like, no, we weren't trying to steal your money. The reason we were doing this is so we could build a spaceship to the moon. The reason we're doing this because the earth is hollow and filled with lizard people and mole children, right?
Sure. The ending is tricky.
The ending is tricky, Brad. Do we end with the federal government driving a tank into the pavilion? Do we end
right.
when we set the building on fire? Do we end with tracksuits, shaved heads, and cauterized penises? What are we doing?
It would be awkward for a sex cult.
It would be awkward for a sex cult.
It would be the end, mind you. So I guess that could make sense. I don't know. Yeah, I would probably just if we're starting it as an ARG, I think we just vanish like many of the classic ARGs that never got finished. So it's just a random weird cliffhanger.
And people are like, what?
And for years there's like forum posts and weird like comment threads that don't go anywhere because they just kind of end randomly halfway to whatever the conclusion was going to be.
Oh, that's so good, Brad. It's just like bloop, bloop.
Or the very final thing is like just leading him into the I Love Bees ARG or something.
That's
one of
good.
the old.
Or it's a Rickroll at the end and everyone realizes what it is. Yeah.
That would be pretty good, actually.
That'd be very
good.
Would
be great.
That'd be very, very good. Yeah. Good stuff, man. All right. Well, I think we've got it. We've got a good plan. We've got a good plan.
Let's see.
Sometimes, Brad, we create some dangerous things.
Sometimes. I've got several people in my life that asked me very earnestly to warn them if I ever decided to turn evil. Because they want to escape. Because they don't
escape the world or escape Canada.
They don't want to deal with me if I ever turn evil, and they would like some warning. Because apparently I get scary if I start to get just a little bit evil in my thoughts.
Okay. All right. Well, Brad.
So I think starting a cult might be one of those situations where it would very quickly snowball into potential evil.
Okay.
But it would be fun.
Yeah, Brad, I think it would be very, very fun. I think
Michelle is actually all in. You're like, turn evil. Great.
No, Brad, I'm all for it. And again, Brad, if you want to be the man behind the curtain, I will be the face. I'll be the face of Brad Evil Core.
I definitely don't want to be the face, so that works out for me.
I'll be the face. Yeah. I'll be the face, and you can be the man behind the curtain, and we're all good.
Excellent. Sure, no problem. Let's see. I guess possibly related to cults. Kellen, what's something people don't worry about very much, but really should?
Oh, golly. What's something people don't worry about very much? Besides you turning evil?
That's probably not a very high risk. I mean, you never know, I guess. But doesn't seem super likely. So much work.
So much work. I guess there's so many things, Brad. There's so many things that people should worry about, but they don't. There's the hard answer, which I kind of talked about last week, like the fucking environment and the economy connected to the environment. But we already got it in there. We already did that. What else should people? What else?
Bee shortage is a solid these days. The bees are disappearing, but there are people that are very worried about that.
Yes, the bees going away.
Maybe not as many as maybe should, but there are definitely a good chunk of people that are worried about it.
Brad, what I think what people are honestly probably not thinking about is if the internet ever falls apart, right?
Sure.
Like, I don't think people understand, especially here in the United States, just how fragile our infrastructure is, and like how let's think about if the big one happens, like in on the West Coast. If the big tsunami happens in Oregon and the big earthquake happens in California, the infrastructure on the entire West Coast is going to fall apart. And part of that infrastructure is also going to be all of the cloud computing that's there, all of the internet services, everything else, and it will sort of ripple effect that way. And again, I hate to be like doom and gloom, but this is like we're really thinking about it, like that shit is going to happen someday. And like the after effects of the United States in terms of the economy shutting down in the United States will like just on e-commerce alone will move the entire world into a global recession that will take like a decade to come back from. So I think like infrastructure shit like that is really scary. And when people are like, whatever, it's the roads. It's like,
it's just the roads. Who cares? It's fine.
What else? Like, like the problem is I keep going to these terrible things where I'm like, fucking like private prisons. That's the thing that people don't think about. Like privatized prisons are fucking terrible. And people are like, yeah, they go to prison. Like that's where bad people go. It's like, no. It's bad. It's federalized slavery. It's terrible. What's probably something else people don't think about, but they should worry about? I would say their colon health, right? People should be carrying more attention to their gut and what they're eating. If you're eating too much processed meat, it's gonna be bad, right? The amount of people who are killed by sort of gut related cancer every year, Brad.
Too much soda, things like that.
Too much soda, alcohol, candy, this sort of shit.
Sure. Very worrying.
Golly, we're talking cults. We're talking. Gosh, I wish I had a funny answer.
Before we go on, like, ending the cult with a Highlander situation, like a battle royale where the last person that survives gets all of the profit that we've made, and just
there it is. That's it.
do
That's
it.
it's yes, exactly. It's a battle royale, and it's like, great, here we are. Everything is.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of also natural disasters that can happen. Exactly.
We are technically in the window now, right? I mean, the window is like thousands of years wide, but
yeah,
technically speaking,
it's there. Maybe. Like the window in terms of the big earthquake tsunami that's going to happen in Oregon. It's every 300 years, and we're 40 years after that 300-year mark, right?
Right.
So it's dangerous. It's very, very scary. Here's another fucking thing, right? Like the amount of like nuclear facilities that are around the oceans. When you think about Fukushima in Japan and how much worse that could have been in terms of poisoning most of the Pacific, like there are just so many things that people don't think about because we're like, I'm gonna play Angry Birds, right? It's just like,
I mean, that's a fun game.
It's a fun game, right? It's a very, very fun game. Simpsons Tapped, right? These are fun games.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's a tough one, Brad. It's a tough one. Yeah, man. That's I think Brad, I'll be perfectly honest. I think most of the world, we live in a very, very scary place. We live in a very scary world, and we happen to have a lot of circuses around that keep us distracted from how fucking terrifying the world actually is. When someone tells me, "Oh, I'm scared of sharks," and they live in Nebraska, it's like, great. That's fantastic. You know what you should be afraid of? You should be afraid of a global drought due to climate change that is going to destroy your town because it's going to rain for 8 months, or it's going to get so cold and so hot in the 24-hour period, you're going to feel like you're on the surface of Mars and the surface of Venus, and you're going to die. So, anyways, good stuff. Good stuff.
Right. Pittman is thinking zombies. You never know.
Well, that's the question, right? Let's talk about it this way. Are we talking Walking Dead zombies like they're viruses? A zombie virus? That's easy. But if we're talking about the gates of hell and the dead walk among us, right? That's a different situation. I don't have an answer for that, Brad.
No, but the zombies are easy. What's your answer to zombies?
Well, I'm saying zombie virus. Zombie virus is easy, Brad. Zombie virus.
Everyone knows that a virus can be easily contained because people, when they understand that a situation is serious,
Brad,
will do the bare minimum necessary to keep their fellow humans alive.
Brad, we know how to kill a zombie. You shoot it in the head. Like, that's the thing. If it's a zombie, you just shoot it in the head or you bash the brains in. Sure. So again, zombie virus is easy to deal with, right? Gates of Hell.
World War Z is a great book.
Oh,
the movie was terrible and completely different, but the book was awesome.
The book is so good. The book is
the zombie survival guide is also great.
There is another book that's like World War Z that's about robots coming to life. What is that book?
Robots coming to life.
Oh, like that, like the it's essentially, oh God, what is it?
Is it an Asimov thing? Like iRobot?
No, it's not iRobot. It's like no, not World War Z with robots. That's how you play with bots. That's the wrong search, Kellen. A book. We'll figure it out later. There's a book about like essentially the first sentient sort of robots that were designed by the government, and they're sort of confined, and then they're like, okay, cool, and then there's a giant war between sentient robots and humans, and it's set up like World War Z in terms of like the book begins with the armistice between robots and humans. And you're sort of, the whole book is about leading to
where the sidewalk ends. Is that what you're thinking about?
I don't think that's what it is. Is that where the sidewalk ends is about?
Damn it, Nick. Now I got to go read that book again, like understanding the subtext of the uprising.
Silverstein was really, really ahead of his time in terms of talking about.
You really have to read
singularity
lines on that one. I think it's all metaphors, and I'm not great with that sometimes. So
no, I know, Brad.
I didn't get that the first time I read it.
Yeah, I missed it too. Brad, I've got a couple of quizzes we could take.
Okay.
These quizzes, Brad, are about sex. I found some sex quizzes. I thought these were going to be interesting to read.
So we're talking about OnlyFans, starting a sex cult, and now we're doing sex quizzes.
We're talking about just so we can know a little bit about you, maybe. So I have three quizzes. All of them are sort of kink related. Just thought we'd be interested to sort of play around this way. One of them is a more scientific psychology sort of one. One's a little bit more fun in the middle, and another one is a full-on, let's understand what your relation to the deeper elements of kink could be. Brad, of these 3 quizzes, I've taken all 3 of these quizzes. Which quiz would you be more interested or willing to take?
I'm just going to pick a random number here using the internet.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
That's 2.
We're going with 2. Okay, great. Brad, you have normal taste in sex, just as the majority of people who are not into BDSM and other kinky practice. And all of your sexual behaviors are within the range of normalcy. So we're going to go from 0% that being false and 100% that being true. Where would you rank on that percentage? You have normal sex taste, very vanilla, probably not. Vanilla is a little too spicy for you.
Probably 50, 60%.
50, or well, I'm gonna go with 60. Okay. Brad, you love to see exactly how far you can go by teasing, testing limits, pushing boundaries, cajoling, another great word, begging, breaking rules. You love to ask for punishment.
Let's say probably like 10%.
10%. Good.
Not super common. I usually let other people set the boundaries, and then I meet those boundaries because I don't have a very great understanding of personal boundaries, and I know that. So I let the other person deal with that.
Very good. Brad, would you play with a naughty, disobedient partner rather than someone submitting spontaneously during sex?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
100%. Very good. Would you like to give money to your partner and pay for all of their expenses?
If that's what they're really into, I don't know, 50%, I guess.
50%?
I could take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Would you like to get more nurturing and care from your partner by dressing up as a child and mimicking childlike behavior, such as drooling, blowing bubbles, and playing with dolls?
I'll go 0% on
Going
that
0%.
Not my style.
Brad, would you like to have sex with more than one sexual partner at the same time?
Sure, 100%.
100%. 100%, he says. Wonderful. Let me pull up the next page.
There is a mild delay in the chat, so I'm just going to assume Nick's 100% and 0%
on the
completely out of
baby
context. Yeah. He definitely is into the baby.
He's into the baby stuff. I believe that. He's got the baby body, though. That's the thing with Nick, is I can't pull off the baby in the diaper, but Nick can pull off the baby in the diaper. Is very sexual. It's very, very nice.
Sure.
Here on Kellen and Brad Talk About Stuff, we do not kink shame. That's the thing.
That is accurate.
Brad, here's the next question for you. Would you like to completely tie up your partner during sex? Completely tie up your partner.
Completely. Seems
We're talking about shibari. We're talking
like
hanging from the ceiling.
70%.
I got 60 or 80, Brad. I don't know if I can go 70.
Okay, 80 would be
80%. Very good. Would you be open to joining a multiple partner relationship, also known as polyamory, for sexual and or emotional pleasure if you were single? Not today. If you were single,
it would be a very complicated conversation. With
yes.
But yeah, I would at the very least consider it strongly. Sure, 100%.
That's 100% then, Brad.
Yeah.
We're going 100%. Would you give up on everything to fulfill your BDSM fantasies, Brad? On everything?
No, I don't think I would be able to do that.
That's a 0?
That would be a 0. Yeah.
That'd be a 0. Okay. Will you give the control of your finances, such as your bank account, to your partner in terms of how much of your own money you can have access to?
Probably wouldn't do that. 0%.
0%. Learning a lot about you, Brad. Not much of a sub, I'm noticing. Interesting.
Not much.
Brad, will you get turned on by inflicting pain on your partner and seeing marks, bruises resulting from your actions?
I mean, it depends on the context. But yeah, like 60%.
60% on that, folks.
Definitely
60%
is a thing that
it's a thing.
could
And
occur,
again,
yeah.
Brad, there's no judgment here. This is the medium of the quizzes, which is great.
Sure.
Will you get turned on by feeling pain and seeing marks, bruises, and resulting from you taking the action that way? Do you get turned on by seeing stuff on you?
Like 20%.
20%. Okay. I got 10 or 30.
30.
30 it is. Will you get pleasure from watching a couple having sex in public, even or especially when they're unaware of you watching?
That would be a 0%.
That'd be a 0%. That's not consent.
Thing,
Brad,
yeah.
number one consent there.
Exactly.
Two people
Absolutely.
fucking if they're fucking in the park, Brad's going to say, hey, and then walk away. Can I watch?
Yeah, just
say yes.
FYI, there are people here. Do you care? No. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
Good work.
exactly. Yeah, no, consent is very important.
Very important. Brad, do you often fantasize about watching others having sex right in front of you?
Often?
Often.
Like 50%.
50%. There we go.
Can't say it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, but it's often. Brad, will you get pleasure from... Oh, here we go.
Not wrong.
Oh, Mark's not as sexy. But again, the mistress, she knows.
Sure.
She knows.
Depends on the context and everything.
Oh
but
my
it definitely
gosh,
can
right?
be a thing.
Oh,
sure.
yes. Right. Like a well-placed, like hickey, like someplace else where you can see it and you're like, all right, I'm good. That's
exactly.
Tingles. Brad, will you get pleasure from physically restricting your partner, including but not limited to restrictions of body movement, breath, vision, hearing, and even orgasm
100%.
during sex?
100%.
100%.
Sensory deprivation play and all that kind of stuff. Good times.
Very good times, Brad. Very, very good times. Brad, here we go. Next question. Do you get off on the idea of swapping your spouse/partner with other couples?
Can't say that I really do. No.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll put that as a 0. Does it turn you on if someone unintentionally catches you being naked or having sex? Does it turn you on, Brad?
Does it turn me on to have an audience?
Unintentional audience.
I was a nudist for quite a while, so like there's a lot of neutrality there. But catching me having sex would be a different level. I would say like 50%.
50%. 50%. I love it, Brad. I love it. Is it more arousing to you to have sex in public rather than private spaces?
No.
No? Or say that as a 0?
Yeah.
You like to play a different age other than your current biological age and have your partner treat you accordingly.
No, it'd be a 0.
You don't want to be an old man?
No old man. No age play stuff.
Age play.
It's not a relevant factor in my brain.
Okay. Imagine that you were a lion. Would you enjoy chasing your prey? Taking all kinds of actions from biting, scratching, to kicking and hitting to capture it.
Getting into the primal.
Primal stuff, Brad. Primal stuff.
I mean, not adverse to it on occasion. Like 20%.
20. I got a 10, a 30.
Go 30 then.
30 it is. There we go. Brad, imagine that you were a rabbit. Would you enjoy being hunted by a predator after a grueling fight?
Yeah, probably like 30%.
30.
Like, if I'm in that kind of a mood, could happen.
It could happen. It could happen. Brad, if your partner is not into a threesome or any other sexual practice, would you seek to fulfill your sexual desire?
100%. Okay.
100%. If you are not sure whether you will like something or not, will you at least give it a go?
Oh, sure. I'll try anything at least.
100%. Love it. How many times are you willing to try it, though, Brad?
Like probably a couple.
There you go. I appreciate that.
At least a couple of times. I mean, I guess depending on how it went the first time, I would decide if it gets a second try or not. But I'm not adverse to trying new things for sure.
If you are not into a threesome or any other sexual practice, will you encourage your partner to seek others to fulfill their sexual desire?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Very good, Brad.
100%.
I appreciate that. There we go. Brad, have you and your spouse ever arranged in the swapping of sexual partners with another couple?
Can't say that we have.
Can't say that he has. Okay, folks. Brad, does it arouse you? Excuse me. Excuse me. Brad, does it arouse you to pee on your partner and treat them as a urinal?
Definitely no.
That's a 0 from Brad.
0%.
It's a 0.
To personal experience.
Brad, not into the scatological sexual experience. Interesting. No shame. No shame on anybody who's into that.
No, I mean, it's just not for me.
Mm-hmm. You enjoy being physically restricted, including but not limited to restriction of body movement, breath, vision, hearing, and even orgasm during sex. You enjoy.
I would have to be in a weird mood.
Weird mood.
10%. Like not
10%.
Never.
Not never, but
it
it's
have to be in a weird mood.
Okay. Does it arouse you to be peed on by your partner during sex, Brad?
0%.
That's a 0. Okay, great. Do you enjoy the idea of your spouse or partner cheating on you, aka cucking?
0%.
It's a 0%.
Yeah, that's another sort of consensual, weird, sort of fuzzy area.
It's a fuzzy area. I get it. Fuzzy like a peach. I get it.
Sure.
Do you value the romantic aspect the most in a relationship?
Depends on the kind of relationship.
Well, we're talking about your spouse currently.
Yeah. Like 70%. Like it's pretty high priority.
Pretty high up there. I like it. Brad, do you think you are kinkier than others, given that you have more sexual fantasies to try out?
That's a strangely worded.
Do you think that you are kinkier than others, given that you have more sexual fantasies to try out? Meaning, I agree with you. It's a very strangely worded question. It is a internet quiz.
Sure.
We're gonna get to this at kinktest.com. Excuse me, kinktest.org/test.
Sure.
I'm thinking like you think you're kinkier than others because you have other things you're planning on trying or doing. That's my thought.
Sure. Okay, I would probably go like 70%.
Okay, all right. You think of your partner as the superior in BDSM. Thus, it is your duty to serve them with the utmost respect.
Be a 0%.
Be a 0. Do you think it's quite adorable for your partner to dress up as a child and mimic childlike behavior such as drooling, blowing bubbles, and playing with dolls?
0% on there.
There we go. Do you tend to switch roles in BDSM? From dominant to submissive, from bottom to top in the same setting with the same partner, or in different settings with different partners?
Like 30%. It happens.
30%?
Yeah.
Perfect. Do you often feel free to unleash your animal instincts in bed? Roaring, howling, biting.
Do I feel free to do
you
that?
Feel free to unleash your animal instincts?
I don't know that it happens very often in that context, but I feel free to do it. Sure.
Yes.
100%, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Here we go. Do you love to serve your partner for the rest of your life and take it as your life purpose?
I mean, kind of, I guess, but that's a weird sort of contextual thing. I don't know, 70%.
Okay, all right.
Like I'm very happily married for many years.
Of course, you've been very happy.
There's like So,
there's some contextual stuff there, right? Do you love to see the fear in your partner's eyes when they know you are going to inflict pain on them?
I would say 0%.
0%. Brad, not much of a sadist.
If fear is the goal of pain, it's no good. It's got to be for heightening the pleasure.
Yes.
For me. No,
there you go. There are some people out there who that's what gets them going.
Sure.
Brad, do you love to have 24/7 relationship with your partner, submitting to you and taking the responsibility that comes with it? Do you want a personal love slave, Brad? That's what the question is asking.
Doesn't everyone?
Doesn't every guy want a girl who's just gonna fucking be their slave, dude?
Yeah, I don't know, like as a role play thing, like fun, but like 30% probably, not
30%,
not a real,
not a 24/7.
No.
Yeah, that's a 24/7 thing, right?
That would be intense.
Do you love to be completely tied up by your partner during sex?
Like 30%.
30%. Very nice.
Have to be in the mood for it.
In the mood for it, but it's still there. Would you like to be 24? Would you like to be the 24/7 sex slave without doing anything or having any social connections to others? Fuck this question.
I mean, no.
No, that's a 0.
Yeah,
that's a 0.
That would be not great for me. But there are definitely people that like that's their thing. They don't. They want to give up like the concept of choice, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That question about like, oh, you can have my bank account. You can and there are type A doms who are going to match with those people, and they're going to be fucking happy forever, right?
Yeah. You just got to find people that complement the things that you want.
Yes.
Everyone can find someone.
They can.
Again, they were into.
Brad, there's someone out there for everyone. It's just about getting out there, knowing you, sir, first, right? You got to know what you want, and eventually you're going to meet that person. You're going to make that person come like they've never came before. That's how you know. Right? Absolutely. And then he drinks his Dr. Pepper.
Of course.
Brad, do you love to serve your master/mistress 24/7 with other slaves owned by him or her?
Go 0%.
That's a 0%. Interesting.
We're learning some things about Hannah too in the chat.
We know that about Hannah. What are we talking? This is
true. I mean, it might be news to somebody in the chat. Who knows?
Somebody. Brad, do you like to talk dirty to your partner during sex?
A reasonable amount of the time. It'll go like 70%.
Okay. Do you enjoy having control over your partner during sex?
70% again.
There we go. Okay.
Pretty.
Do you like to film during sex and upload it online to porn sites?
That's different.
Yes, I was gonna say. I was like, oh.
I probably wouldn't do that. No, that would be a 0.
That's a 0.
But again, in a long-term relationship, that would be a complicated set of permissions required before that's even on the table.
Exactly. Very good. Again, Brad, consent number 1. I love it.
Okay.
Brad, do you like to be bossed around by your partner in the bedroom?
Not very often.
So 10%?
Yeah, 10%.
There we go. Time and a place for it, right?
They're very, very different things. Private videos versus publishing on the internet is very, very different.
But again, Brad, that's the whole OnlyFans situation, right? If you're making it for you, why not make a couple of internet bucks on it, right?
There is that. I mean, I'm not adverse to it. It's just not really a thing that's come up for me as a married person. Yeah. My wife is much more private than I am. That's for sure. That's why
you're on TikTok. That you're the public face of the family.
Imagine how private my wife is. If I am the social one.
Oh yes, Brad. Oh yes. Brad, you enjoy being addressed with respectful titles by your partner and making them follow your orders without question.
Like 50%.
50%.
It happens. It's got to be in the mood.
Mm-hmm. Um, 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 it whips you into a sexual frenzy when your partner says something overtly vulgar and erotic during sex.
Like 30%. Definitely can happen.
30%. Okay. Do you have things? Oh boy. Brad, do you have things for large age gaps in hookups or relationships?
I don't.
That's a 0. There we go.
Yeah.
Brad, do you get arousal from treating your partner with little or no respect, such as degrading or humiliating them sexually?
0%.
That's a 0. That's a 0. That's why Brad's a good person, folks. Brad, do you get
it's not a good or bad person thing. That's not my thing, and I'm not in a relationship with someone who
wants that. You're absolutely right, Brad. I already said we don't kink shame. You're absolutely right to take it back. For everyone who is into that, I'm glad that gets you hard or wet.
I mean,
Brad,
it'll match with a sadist.
It will match exactly.
You'll find something.
Brad, do you get arousal from being treated with little or no respect by your partner, such as being degraded or humiliating sexually?
It's another 0 for that.
Another 0. Brad, the idea of torturing someone with sexuality sounds quite appealing to you.
Torturing them?
Yes, torturing.
It's a very specific word.
Very specific word.
I'm going to have to go with 0%.
0%. Does it sound appealing to you to be tortured sexually?
To 0%.
0%. There we go. Do you enjoy the challenge of keeping up with the mischievous antics of your partner, that little rapscallion of your wife, making them submissive by means of suitable rules, punishments, and rewards?
Sure, brat taming style of thing.
Yes.
Like 70%.
70%. 70%. Do you naturally enjoy taking on caring and nurturing roles in a relationship?
30%.
30%. Do you enjoy taking control of your partner's finances and rationing it as how much of his or her own money they can have access to?
0%.
It's a 0. It's a 0, folks. Almost through this. You've been great, Brad. You're doing a wonderful job. You're doing an absolutely wonderful job. These results are going to be great. We're going to find out so much.
Sure, it'll be a total shock.
Yes. Brad, do you enjoy keeping your partner as a pet? Providing them with a cage, feeding them out of a bowl, petting, caressing them.
You know, to be fair, I haven't tried.
But you haven't tried.
Go with 0.
It's a 0%. Do you enjoy being naked and or having sex in front of other people?
I don't mind it necessarily. I'll go for like 50%.
50%. There you go.
I could be in the mood for that.
I could be in the mood for that. Just don't put it on the internet, right?
All right. I mean, that again, I don't necessarily even care about that. But the person that I would be with definitely would.
Brad, do you enjoy dressing up or behaving like a pet or animal for your partner?
I do not.
Okay, it's a 0. Do you enjoy being kept as a pet by your partner?
No.
It's a 0. Do you dream about living with a group of slaves serving? Do you dream about living with a group of slaves serving you, Brad, 24/7 for the rest of your life? Do you dream about it?
A little awkward, given that we spent the beginning of this show talking about starting a sex cult, but I would say 0.
0. Again, Brad, you don't have to have sex with the people in the sex cult.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
The Maharishi never had sex with people. He just had sex with himself.
It's fair.
Brad, do you consider yourself to be a highly sexual person?
I mean, comparatively to a lot of people, I suppose, yeah.
Okay. We got a 80, 100, 60. What are you doing?
Let's go 80.
80. There we go. Brad, do you consider money as your primary kink to enjoy the idea of enhancing power through financial domination?
Nah, 0%.
It's a 0%. Brad, do you enjoy being cared for or guided by your partner during BDSM or in a relationship?
Not really.
That's a 0. Yeah. Brad, being naughty and disobedient to your partner can make for fun interactions in BDSM.
Sure. I would say 100%. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Brad, you feel proud of taking good care of all the household chores for your partner to make them comfortable in your home.
Like 10%.
10%. Brad doesn't like washing dishes.
No, I don't.
Here are your results, Brad. Okay. Brad, you're 100% on the non-monogamous scale here. Next up, we got rigor with the 67%. You're experimental. What am I doing? I should just share this with everyone. Everyone should see this. This is great.
Sure.
We should share this. Share a screen. Don't be sharing these tips again. Oh, golly, I'll kind of do this now and move this around. Why can't this just be easy? Here we go. There we go, Brad.
There we go.
Can I how do I make this bigger so everyone can? There we go.
There we go.
Right. So here we are, Brad.
So much.
We're learning so much. Again, the Brat Tamer. This is again how do you feel about these top 5, Brad? Does this match with you? Are you feeling good about this?
I mean, mostly.
Most of it. The brat part, that's very interesting. I don't see you as much of a brat, but
I don't
much
really
more of a
see
brat
that
tamer. That makes sense.
That I can see. Experimentalist makes sense.
Makes sense. The rigor. I get it. I get it, Brad. I get it. Well, Brad, thank you so much for taking this test.
Anytime.
Your least one, swinger, femdom, age play, cuckolder, cuck queen.
Sure, makes sense.
There you go. I love it.
That was very interesting.
Brad, if nothing else, the audience learned a lot about you, and you learned a little about yourself. You answered all the questions the way I thought you would answer, and you did a great job.
Once you know me, Kellen, I am very predictable in many ways.
Perfect.
Brad,
lay a question. Let's give me a couple of questions. Give me a couple of questions.
Let's see. All right, what's technology that's like just around the corner that you can't wait to get your hands on once it exists, or once it doesn't suck, even like something that's just starting to exist?
I think that eventually we'll be getting to like Li-Fi. Like I think we'll get rid of Wi-Fi and we'll get to Li-Fi, where like Wi-Fi, like essentially the internet stuff will be sort of beamed on light beams. Like there's already stuff like that in Korea and in Japan, where essentially your wireless router is a light bulb.
Sure.
And that'll be fucking amazing. That will be absolutely incredible, because we think about the speed of a photon. We think about, all right, well, if the internet information is connected to a photon, that will move at such an incredible speed, and it'll be great. The pipes will be the only problem. Once it gets to your house, it'll be zooming. I'm excited for that. I'm not super into full functioning sex robot.
They have those already. Really.
They're already here, buddy. And I'll take a meat bag any day over a sex robot. Sex robot's you can't talk to him. There's nothing there.
I mean, you can talk to the sex robot. It might not answer back very often.
It's not going to answer back.
Although these days, that's probably getting pretty close to.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It is weird though.
It's very strange. It's very strange. Brad, there was you're familiar with HoloLens, right?
Sure, yeah.
I was my NDA is gone from this. Years and years ago, I was part of a team here in Chicago that got to play with HoloLens and got to name it and like play around with it. It was really, really cool. But it was like, this is like we're almost there. It was so bulky, it was so weird. Sure. But there are a lot of cool technologies with like hard light holograms that are essentially, rather than like beaming onto a screen, it's literally beaming into your eyes, and essentially that just goes straight to your brain. Your brain just sees it as real versus like seeing an image.
Sure.
And I do think that like once we could, like that idea of light being rather than light being projected onto a screen, once we figure out an easy, safe way for light just to be popped right into your Oculus and just go right to the stuff where it matters, the sky's the limit at that point, right? Movies and video games and all types of stuff, and any visual medium completely changes the moment we can do that. And I think we're probably there in the next 20 years. I think we're probably close to that sort of Minority Report where we're just like pulling things out of the air and like doing that sort of stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I do know that Apple is on its way towards sort of gesture technology with their stuff of like, again, just being able to do a lot of stuff like this with iPads and other things. And I guess I kind of don't get that with a phone. That makes more sense in terms of like my bigger computer in terms of like, oh, cool, I want this. But like, I only want that sort of technology if I'm going to have like the Minority Report where I'm standing at my desk and I'm pulling things. And
if you've got smart glasses that are essentially VR/AR.
Exactly.
And then you're using gestures because the thing is in front of you.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense. With a phone, yeah, it's sort of a weird.
Yeah, like sitting with a phone like this and being like,
it's like instead of just touching it, you're like waving over it for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the tactileness of the phone. I enjoyed that. I'm much more of a tactile person that way. Golly gee, what else? What else? I mean, we're getting really close in terms of getting more people out in space. You know, Elon Musk and Bezos are doing everything they can to spend that money. And as much as I think both of them are total scumbags, the fact that they're putting all this money towards that technology, even if they're doing it to profit on it, the fact that Bezos made a contract with the Pentagon this week for his team to start making nuclear powered, rockets and other shit like that. Like there's some trade-offs, but the further the closer we can get to space, the better. So
about 979 years, I believe.
Yeah,
we
get Fry's got to go to sleep for a little while. So
yeah, all of that sort of like smart glass technology, anything like that, any sort of wearable tech stuff is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I would agree.
And we're like almost there with a bunch of it. So at some point in the next bunch of years, a lot of things are going to combine. Like, we finally found the thing.
Yeah.
It's this contact lens that feeds information directly into your ocular nerve or what.
But it's all about how do you power it, right? That's the problem. Is everyone's like, I mean, I think we've got the quantum computing to do it, but it's like, how do you power it, right? And the biggest issue right now is the battery life, sustainable battery life, as well as having something that's not going to need a battery. You're going to plug it in where it can just run, right? Like the quicker we can get to some sort of mini cold fission, like the quicker we can figure out that to be able to power this sort of technology, that's when we're going to be able to do so much more. But for right now, when it's still like, well, you got to plug your phone into the wall, it's like,
right. You need long range wireless charging, and then like have the charger like in the corner of every room. So you're just constantly low level charging.
Yeah.
But we have to work that out so that it doesn't melt people's brains first.
Yeah, I was going to say the whole cancer, melt people's brains, melt people's organs thing. We got to figure
that technology exists.
Yes.
We can charge things wirelessly, but it takes a little too much power.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily great for the human body.
No. It's not good for the bones. The bones somehow that sort of wave frequency going through bones tends to hurt it. So yeah.
But if we could get it down to like Wi-Fi level power and still have it charge enough, that could be good.
I don't
know how that would work.
We'll see.
We definitely need to move forward on that. But like, there's a bunch of stuff that's very close. Like even these glasses.
I was going to say those glasses are really, really cool.
With the bone conduction thing that I can listen to anything and no one else can hear it unless they're like this close to the side of my head. Like,
it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Very cool, but it doesn't do a lot of things. Like there's a lot more that you need to build into a smart glass sort of situation for it to be really functional as a replacement for things like a phone or whatever. But it's getting there. Some things are getting interesting for sure.
Yeah. Brad,
people in their weak ass.
Fucking what? Come on, human beings.
We need cyborg body replacements, right? And then we just put the batteries in one of the cyborg parts. We just charge ourselves. It's sure you can charge all your technology. All we need is just replace one of your legs.
I'll do that, man.
Put the batteries in there, and it'll be great.
And Brad, it's been months since I played Cyberpunk 2077, but all the stuff I saw in that game, I was like, none of this bothers me. None of this stuff bothers me.
If someone tomorrow was like, listen, we could keep your phone charged without you ever having to put it on a charger if you kept it in your pocket. But we have to replace your leg because the batteries are going to be in your leg. I'd be like, sure, yeah, count me in.
Whatever. What else does my leg can do? Can I kick open a door?
Right.
I guess so. Yeah, if that's what you want to do, yeah, replace my leg, and I'll be the man who comes to someone's house and kicks open doors.
Absolutely. Like all that stuff is like just barely not there enough.
Yeah.
Right now, but a lot of things are getting eerily close.
Pretty close. Again, Brad, give me any 1980s, early 1990s manga or anime from Japan.
Exactly.
Yes. Perfect. Exactly.
Absolutely.
I don't have to be part of the squad, right? I can just live in that world and I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine.
Absolutely.
Brad, I got a question for you.
Okay.
How old were you when you had your first celebrity crush, and who was it? First celebrity crush.
It was probably Moose from You Can't Do That on Television.
Wow.
Way back in the early 80s, whenever I would have seen that show, I would have been 9 or 10. I don't know. But it would have been reruns even then from the first couple of seasons.
Moose from You Can't Do That on Television. Yeah. Brad, you have a type.
I do have a type. Yes.
That perm? Oh my God, Brad. I remember when You Can't Do That on Television finally came to the States. It was a great show, and it was unlike anything else I'd ever seen before. It was so weird.
They would not get away with a lot of that
stuff. No. Man, that show was awesome.
It was.
Brad, can you describe to people what You Can't Do That on Television was? Because there might be people who are not familiar with this Canadian export.
It was like a skit show primarily, so sort of SNL, but more behind the scenes. Also, it was 30 Rock essentially with kids.
Yes, it was 30 Rock.
It was kids. Behind the scenes of a skit show, but also you saw some of the skits.
Yeah.
But it was all a bunch of Canadian kids, and it started as a public access thing. So they had no budget.
No budget at all.
They had a local phone number. You could just call in randomly while they were doing it. And it was great. It was just a bunch of kids and a few very strange adults that just hung out making jokes, and it was hilarious. And they dumped goo on people. And
the whole like Nickelodeon kids getting gacked and slimed all came from this. It's all from this. The color, everything, and there was also elements of like the thing about You Can't Do That on Television is like the old man who they hung out on this kids show would play these creepy, crazy characters that would never fly ever again. But he was so funny and so good. And there was
definitely showed up like in one of the kids' bathrooms, like while they were in the bathtub.
Yes,
in at least one or two skits. Like,
and also he would always.
There's totally fun. They're just joking and having.
There are sketches where there are kids tied to walls in dungeons, and it's totally fine. Yeah. Where he's playing some sort of like weird Central American communist dictator as well.
Oh, weird.
So weird. Yeah, it was a really fun, weird show. It was sort of Python-esque. It was great.
It was definitely very heavily Python inspired, I think, in many ways. Yeah. A lot of the skits ended with a behind the scenes thing. Like just the skit ends because someone pulls people out of the skit or someone gets angry off stage. Like very Python sort of nothing ends.
It's so good. It's so good. That's a good one, Brad. I like that one a lot. That's a very good one.
How about you, Kellen? First,
I think my first crush was probably Winona Ryder. I had a long crush on Winona Ryder, and I was probably Beetlejuice, Azar in Beetlejuice, and just totally fell hard for her. It's either that or Christina Ricci in Addams Family. That would be
so your emo phase is.
And what's interesting is I never dated an emo. I never dated someone who was like that emo person. Like I was never like, oh, I'm into that. But there was something about that energy. There was something. Again, you're absolutely right. Like, oh, eyeliner, black hair.
Right.
What do you want? Like, yes, 100%. But never ever was with someone like that, but that was like the crush. It was crush.
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, those would be my two. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Do you want another semi-quick one?
Well, give me anything, Brad. Give me a couple.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Since we were talking about replacing body parts anyway, if you had a HUD that showed 3 stats about whoever you were looking at, what 3 stats would you like it to show?
Heart rate, number 1. I want to see their heart rate. That's the easiest, like boom. That's my Daredevil thing, right? I can see their heart rate. Is it just like biological stuff, or could I pull up like other sort of like, what do you think, Brad? Like,
anything, whatever information about them in this magical world.
This magical HUD.
You have a HUD that
I want to see their heart rate. I want to see their heart rate. What are the other super important information would I want to have?
Just any bit of information that can be reasonably quantified, I guess. You don't have to necessarily have a good way to quantify it, but it has to be able to be quantified.
Oh, okay. This is going to seem strange, Brad. I'm going to try and see if I can explain this. I'd want to see their battery percentage level. And I'll explain why. If I could see their battery percentage level, I could tell how busy or how bored they were that day, right? So if let's say I'm meeting someone in the morning and their battery's already halfway done, I'm like, this person got up early, they've been super busy on their phone, or they've been on their phone all day. And when they're like, oh no, my day's been super easy, I'm like, you've been on TikTok for 4 fucking hours. You got up before dawn and you haven't done anything at all, right?
Sure.
Right. So I'm taking that piece of quantifiable information. I'm also looking at their heart rate, if their heart rate goes up or if their heart rate goes down, right? These are things that I'm looking for. And I'd want to know what their last meal was. That's the other thing. I'd want to know exactly what their last meal was. So I could know if they had eaten recently, to be able to tell me, depending on their caloric level, what their mood was. So if someone's being sort of like nonchalant, laissez-faire with me, and I see their last meal was lunch the day before, oh, okay. So like they're not really being cool. They're just calorie deficient.
Right. They're half asleep, right?
They're half asleep. And also their battery is at 20% and it's 9 o'clock in the morning and their heart rate is skyrocketing. So I'm like, great, we need to get this person a bagel. We need to get this person a glass of water and we need to charge their phone.
Sure.
For me, these are the things that I would actually make my life a lot easier. If I could know these things in terms of my own anxiousness, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Well, this is good. I don't need someone's bank account. I don't need their financial records. I don't need any of that. Just give me, have they eaten? When's the last? Yeah, like their battery level. The battery level helps me understand a lot about sleep, I think. So
sure.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
Okay. Brad, if you could hire someone to help you in your home, would it be cleaning, cooking, or yard work?
Cleaning.
Cleaning.
Yeah. I'm a disaster when it comes to cleaning.
Really? What is that? What's that about?
I just don't have the energy, and I end up giving up on an area for a long time. It's like, it's not worth cleaning.
It's not worth cleaning, whatever.
Until it just becomes an utter disaster. It's like, okay, I have to do that.
You have to.
It's can't let that sit.
What is the hardest thing for you to clean?
Probably just like vacuuming stuff.
Well, vacuuming is tough, man. Like that's not like dusting is for me. I hate dusting. Like
dusting is a pain. Dishes are annoying, but like
I like washing dishes.
Laundry isn't so bad. Things like that I can deal with because it's very sort of punctuated. You do a thing for a couple minutes and you let it sit. The machine does most of the work.
Okay. Yeah. I think cleaning would probably be it for me. I like cleaning dishes. I actually like doing laundry. But there are certain household chores that I really am bored with most of the time. And if someone could dust, if someone could just like get stuff, that would be so wonderful. And again, I have no shame for people like, no, I hire a cleaning person. I'm like, great, you're supporting the economy. That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. I like yard work and I love cooking, so I wouldn't want someone to do either of those. So cleaning would be the way I'd go. So,
Fair.
yeah. If someone could come and launder all of my towels and my clothes for me so I didn't have to do that, that would be very nice. That'd be very, very nice. All right, Brad. You got a couple. Vacuuming is the cardio of housework. Absolutely, Pittman. Absolutely.
Let's see here. Kellen, I know you play a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons.
I do, Brad. I do.
But I imagine you have a lot of fun memories related.
I have a lot of fun memories. Yes.
Do you have one that's like your favorite D&D memory that you either like to tell people or that's just that constantly comes up in your brain? Like, oh, that was great.
I can give an example of something that happened this week in this game that I'm playing right now.
Sure.
Okay. And talking about D&D with people who don't play D&D is like talking about your dreams with people who don't care about you. It can sometimes be a little boring. So I'm currently playing a Star Wars role-playing game called Edge of the Empire, and it's very, very fun. I'm playing with 4 of my friends, and this week was our 1-year anniversary. We started playing a year ago, and we played every single week except for 6 sessions. I'm very, very pleased with this group of people. 2 babies have been born in the year, so I'm very, very pleased. So one of the characters is a character named Crud, and Crud is a Queequeg assassin. Queequegs in the Star Wars universe are sort of like hard-looking. They look like they have stones all over their face, and he's a pretty hard-looking dude, and he's an assassin. And he's sort of the muscle of the group. We have a character named Jimbo, who is a human, who is this. Our game is set after the Battle of Endor and between episode 6 and episode 7. So it's before sort of Mandalorian time, still kind of when the Republic and the first order are sort of figuring out how to exist at the same time. Right. And Jimbo is a former Imperial mechanic who survived both of the Death Star explosions. Nice. And believes he has force powers. So he is a humble. He speaks with a Midwestern accent, and he is very simple and very funny, and he's very, very funny. Then there is Vic. Vic is a Bothan, and if people don't know who Bothans are they're spy people. They look like little dog people, but
many of them died.
Exactly, Brad. Exactly. Many Bothans died. Vic is a twin to one of those Bothans who died getting the plans of the Death Star, and so he is a former spy with his brother. And I'm just kind of explaining some of this so you can understand the character moments this way. And then there's Gremflax, and Gremflax is the kind of dude from episode 2 who is the big lizard dude who has the 4 arms, who hangs out with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
Yes. So these 4 characters are scumbags. They are not good people. They do bad things to each other. They hate each other. They are absolute assholes. And I love that these 4 guys who are actually really nice people are playing these 4 terrible dudes, right? And they just fuck over everyone they deal with, right?
Excellent.
I put them in very easy situations, and they always find a way to... They're smugglers, right? They're all smugglers. They all work together, and they're always just trying to get one over on people, and it's great. Excellent. One of the things that happened this week is there was a female human cantina owner who Vic has fallen in love with. And Crud knows that something's up with her, and he called her a sexist remark. And I won't say it here. He said something very sexist. And the character, excuse me, the player, the moment he said the sexist remark in the character's voice, stopped. He said, "Nope, I don't want to say that. I personally, the guy who's playing it, I don't think that was appropriate." And he just said, "I apologize for saying it." And the character says something, but I'm not going to say it. He just said, whatever Crud says, it's terrible, but I don't want to say it because he felt really bad saying it.
Right.
And we're like, okay, cool. That makes sense. And then all 3 of the other characters suddenly take on this anti-misogynist feminist role. All these fucking scumbags are like, fuck you for saying that about that woman.
Excellent.
And we, for 40 minutes, role play the four of them having a conversation about how crud can't be sexist this way. The game stops. Like, we all agree that, like, we all know, we're like, no, we're not sexist, but these four guys all jump on crud for making this extremely sexist remark and make him deal with it and make him go to the woman and apologize for saying it.
Nice.
I was blown away by the commitment of my players. The fact that they made this their own game. They're trying to steal somebody's stabilizer so they can get off this planet. This is nothing connected to the story at all. So they took 45 minutes out of our 3-hour game on Monday to have a sit down with four men so that they could call another man out for making a sexist comment. And I got to the end of the game and I said, boys, we're doing God's work. We're doing this. It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Man, Dungeons and Dragons role playing, it brings out the best. It brings out the best. And again, Brad, we will find a time where we can play D&D here for everyone, and they'll see it. And your character's it's gonna become the new hit sensation. Everyone's gonna be talking about this character.
Sure, I'm sure.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
That will be
figure
fun.
out when the hell that's gonna.
We will figure it out. We will figure it out. We'll get some guests on. It'll be a night. It'll be a whole thing. It'll be a whole thing. So
that'll be good.
Brad, do we have another quick one, or do we? Is this it for tonight?
Let's see here. I have a quick one. Oh, what's the most physically painful thing that you've ever experienced, Kellen?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Brad! The most physically painful? Not emotionally painful.
Not emotionally.
Physically painful. I don't remember it. But I have my collarbone was broken when I was born, and supposedly collarbones are pretty fucking painful. I have a very, very high pain tolerance. I've broken my nose multiple times and didn't realize it. Got my wisdom teeth out, and I didn't take any Vicodin or anything else like that because it didn't bother me. Wow. Golly, I've broken multiple fingers. I've broken arms, and I cracked my skull open and didn't really feel a lot of pain. I'm trying to think.
What's not a lot of nerves in the skull thing.
Not a lot of nerves. A lot of blood.
It's messy and scary, but it's fairly low on the pain. I mean, once your brain swells up, that can suck.
That's pretty painful.
The skull itself is, you're fine.
Brad, what is the most painful? Probably I was a lifeguard one summer and I fell asleep on the dock and I got a high altitude 2nd degree burn that essentially turned into blisters on my chest. Like it looked like someone had put a cigarette out on my chest. Ouch. And that sunburn hurt probably more than anything else I've ever felt. And those blisters, it wasn't like I could pop them. I was like, I went to the medics and they said, you got to just deal with that, man. And I wore a shirt for the next 3 weeks because it was so bad. It was right here in the center of my chest too. It was so bad. It was so bad.
That's no good.
Yeah, that was no good. That was no good. What about you, Brad? You've been through some stuff.
I've had a couple of pretty nasty sunburns, not quite to that level, but I did fall asleep once on a deck in the shade. And when I woke up several hours later, half my leg was in the sun and my foot was like 4 times its normal size because it had swollen with the sunburn so much. Mm-hmm. That wasn't great.
Yeah.
But probably the most painful sort of single event that's happened is I guess I was probably 17, 18. I don't know. I was still living with my parents, so somewhere around there. And I tripped and I managed to catch just the edge of a coffee table with the top of my shoulder as I came down, and I managed to dislocate my shoulder.
Oh boy.
And it was just high enough off the ground that hitting it flipped me over and I landed on the concrete basement floor on that same shoulder in the opposite direction and relocated it like not even half a second later. And that hurt a lot. I laid there for probably 45 minutes before I got up because I could not move. That hurt a lot.
That sounds like that hurt. That sounds very,
like
very
dislocating your shoulder feels weird. Like you hit your funny bone, or like it's not great, but like putting it back is what really sucks.
Yeah,
and having them both happen basically instantaneously.
Boom. No,
not great.
Not fun. Wow, Brad, we've gotten through it. We've gotten through another evening.
We did it again.
We did it again, Brad. We do this every single week. Here we are. The end of our night.
Neither of us have missed a week so far. It's been
we've been here every single week. It's been easy.
Every single week.
You know, and Brad, anytime we have to say goodbye to everyone, it's always bittersweet.
That would suck.
Yikes, Pittman. Yikes.
This has been a lot of fun.
This has been good, Brad, and we've learned a lot about each other. We've talked about real things. We've had some new people join us in the chat, which is always wonderful. Again, thank you everyone for coming here. Your support, your engagement with us is always wonderful. Brad and I do this just for ourselves, so anybody else enjoying this is always perfect. Yeah, if you haven't already, for the few people who are here, please subscribe if you're interested. Hit that bell if you want that reminder about every single Wednesday to be coming here wherever your location is.
And look out for the cult that we'll be starting.
Yeah. Look out for that cult. You'll get a personal invitation real soon, and I'm sure it'll be great for everyone. Brad, thank you so much as always. You're great. Great work on that quiz. And again, I got two more other fun quizzes. I'm sure it's going to be fairly similar. Maybe I'll give you one of those quizzes and you can ask me next time. Should be good.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
See you next week, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.